It's 9:30, and I want to go to sleep.
We're talking Yonah D'Yoma first. Then Yonah D'Yoma comes first.
Yeah. How was Shabbos, Rabbi?
Yaakov, did they have a minion up the block?
No, Sulitz did not have.
Really?
What about Rabbi Rand?
I thought the rabbis were supposed to come out with another letter. How come they didn't come out with it?
What?
I thought they were supposed to come out with another letter.
I don't know. I don't know what's
All right.
wrong with letters.
Alto Minyanim, banned or not banned?
They wanted to ban it. Did they come out with a letter before
I
Shabbos?
didn't see anything.
I thought I saw something from Rav David.
All I know is I davened on my porch with my kids and my tenant, and across the street there were people all davening on their porches. And technically we could have made a minyan, but I hear no minyan. So we davened Kabbalah Shabbos together.
There you go. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ready to roll? Okay. Where's my? Let me pull up Gezeira from Friday. Here we go.
You didn't post everything.
I did post.
Yes, it's on YouTube.
I posted on Friday. I posted Gezeira. I think I did.
I don't know. I only saw Daf Yomi Shabbos last I saw.
You did.
I'm looking.
You did.
That's what just sounded.
Oh, you did yesterday.
Whatever it is.
You did. I didn't see it. Okay. Fine.
Did you get a drink of seltzer for your final point?
Where do we go? Okay, so Daf Yud Gimel, right? Yud Gimel, yeah. What a chazan is allowed to look at. What am I talking? Yeah.
I don't know. Last time I was on the bottom.
Yeah, meaning a chazan, meaning the kid teaching the kids what he's allowed to read to candlelight. Beauty of Klai is all that we eat with tahara, and then a zav shouldn't eat with a zava. Can a husband and wife sleep in the same bed during neither in their own clothing? Then the story with the Talmud Chacham who died young that we learn a lot of harchafas from, and then they continue that story on Talmud Beis. Then we have the mission of the 18 Gezeiras that we pass on like Beis Shamai. And then we wanted to know if the two halachas of reading by the light and delousing coal is considered part of the 18. Then we discussed Megillah's Tainus, which is Megillah about all the different tzaras of Klai Yisrael and what we were saved from. And then we discussed the first 8 of the Gezeiras. Then we said the first 2 was one who eats a rishon and sheni of tumah becomes tamei, one who drinks something that's tamei becomes tamei, washing with drawn water after a mikvah. We said you're not allowed to. Showering makes you tamei. Svarim make you tamei. Hands make you tamei. Svarim shouldn't be handled with bare hands.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay. So that brings us to Yudal and Mabez on the top, right? That's who left. Tvul Yain, yeah.
We started 9:30 tonight.
No, we started 9:15, but till we finished with Yonah D'Yoma.
Why did Mommy say we're starting in 2 minutes?
Thought I
was having a heart attack last night.
All right. Anyways, Tvul Yain. Yeah, so Tvul Yain is somebody who toivel during the day. I'm missing a joke. Okay.
No, you just had a lot of compassion for your brother who thought he was having a heart attack.
I know. Yeah. Tvul Yain.
He came post in Yonah D'Yoma. It's not his fault.
That's right. So anyway, so Tvul Yain is somebody who tovels during the day and then he doesn't become tar till at night, right? So that person can make things tamei till nighttime. So Gemara asks the question: Tvul Yain deraisu. The halachas of Tvul Yain, it doesn't become tar is from the Torah. That's not one of the 18 Gezeiras that Shamai said. And the sun goes down and then he becomes tar. I mean, he doesn't become tar until sunset. So I'm going to answer Sam Mikan Tvul Yain. Let's erase Tvul Yain. As simple as that, right? Just erase Tvul Yain from one of the 18. So look at the Tosfos, Sam Mikan right off to the right, two-line Tosfos. The Tosfos says, "Lo min Mishnah, elo de lo havim min yud ches dvarim." Meaning, it doesn't mean that we have erased the halacha. It's just from the Mishnah. It's just that it wasn't one of the 18 that they were Gezeira. Right? The halacha stays the same. Fine. So that's Tvul Yom. And then we said that food that gets tamei with liquid, so it also becomes a rishon. The mashkin demai. Now, what type of liquid are we talking about? If it's liquid that became tamei because the sheretz touched it, that's any drink that could be drunk. Must be that it was this food became tamei with liquid that became tamei from hands, which we said that hands are considered sheni l'tumah. And it's a Gezeira because of mashkin that may come machmas sheretz. So we're making a Gezeira that all liquids that touch solids is going to make it tamei, and it's a Gezeira because of the sheretz. And then we said another one is kalim that become tamei with liquids. Kalim the itmu b'mashkin demai. What type of liquid did it become tamei with? Ilam b'mashkin dezav. If it becomes liquid, if it's from liquid that comes from a zav, that's also in the Torah. The siv v'chiyara kazav b'tar. Mashabiyat tar temesilach. Right, with a zav spits on a tar, and what's in the hand of the tar is going to become tamei. That's a pasuk in the Torah, so it can't be it's a Gezeira from Shamai. Elba mashkin abayin machmas sheretz. Must be talking about mashkin that came from a sheretz, like we said before. Gezeira mashkin dezav, and we're afraid, even though the mashkin of a sheretz shouldn't make you tamei, but we're afraid that mashkin comes from a zav. Fine, okay, that's tum and tar. Now v'yadayim tamid. This Gemara gets a little easier. V'yadayim tamid Shamai and Hillel gazer. Was it the talmidim, meaning was it Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel that made a Gezeira that hands are tamei? Shamai and Hillel goes. It wasn't Beis Shamai, Beis Hillel. It was actual Shamai and Hillel that made the Gezeira. The Tanya, we learned in the Brayso Yosef and Yezer Ish Tzreid of Yosef and Yochanan Ish Yerushalayim Gazru Tuma al eretz ha'amim. They made a bunch of Gezeiras. They made a Gezeira that the lands, any land outside Eretz Yisroel is tamei. And they made a Gezeira on glass. The glass also becomes tamei. Shem Vashetach Tikkun Ksuba L'Isha. Shem Vashetach was masakin that a woman has a ksuba. Now, what does that mean? We'll get to this later, but basically what it means is that, a ksuba comes way before Shem Vashetach, that a woman needs a ksuba. But we were afraid, the way the ksuba worked before Shem Vashetach came along was that, let's say a man before he got married said, okay, if I divorce you, here's whatever the amount of money is. Let's say, it's 200 zuz. Let's say here's 10 grand, put it into escrow, and if the guy got divorced, so then the lady would take it. So Shimon Shetach made a Gezeira, and he was afraid that men would easily, since they already got rid of the 10,000, it was an escrow already, they would easily divorce their wife, because they just say, just take your money. So Shimon Shetach said, no, the lady can decide she can take the money from wherever she wants, meaning she could say, I want the 10 grand that you have hiding in your safe. And Memela, that would make a guy think twice about getting divorced. So Shimon Shetach made that Gezeira. He made that takon. V'gozer tuma al kli matras, and he also made a Gezeira that is tamei on metal. Shamai and Hillel gozer tuma al yadayim, and Shamai and Hillel made a Gezeira of tuma on yadayim. So the question is, okay, so the first part of this brayso was brought just parenthetically, but the main part of the brayso is this last part that Shamai and Hillel made a Gezeira on hands. So how can you say that it was Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel? Maybe he means that Shamai and his crowd and Hillel and his crowd. Rav Yehuda b'shem Shmuel says that there were 18 things that they made a Gezeira on, and 18 things that they disagreed on. Hillel b'Shamai, but Hillel and Shamai themselves, Hillel and Shamai only had machlokes in three areas, and that's it. There were only 3 places that Hillel and Shamai actually had machlokes, and that's it. So it can't be that it was actually Hillel and Shamai here, right? So we have this stira. Was it Hillel and Shamai, or was it based on the Beis Shamai? Also in Gazer Litlois, maybe Beis Shamai and maybe Hillel and Shamai made a Gezeira Litlois, right, to hang it. Right, maybe they made a Gezeira to hang it, meaning hanging means that it wasn't, you don't have to burn it, but you're not allowed to eat it either. But also Tamadah Begazer Lisroif, And then the Talmidim, meaning Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, and the 18 Gezeiras came along and said, no, you have to actually burn it. Ba'amar Ilfa, Ilfa said, Yadayim Tchilas Gezeiras and the Sreifa. The Gezeira, the initial Gezeira of Yadayim was that if the Yadayim touched anything, it would become Sreifa. Elo asu inu gazur v'lai kiblu minayu v'asu tamidayu gazur v'kiblu minayu. They came along and they made a Gezeira, and nobody was makabel it, which is very interesting. Shamai and Hillel made a Gezeira that the hands are tamei, and the Olam just said, no, we're just not accepting it. But then the Talmidim came along and then they were makabel it from them. Right? So, so that's the teretz that we're saying right now. Again, Hillel and Shammai made the Gezeira. The initial Gezeira, Klal Yisrael didn't accept it. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel made the Gezeira, and then Klal Yisrael accepted it. Sort of like if the Klal Yisrael decided that they want to daven in shul, and they just tell the Rabbanim, okay, we're just not accepting the Gezeira, right? I mean, that would be the equivalent. But hey,
It's kind of like how we've reacted to the internet as of late.
maybe. Yeah. But whatever it is, it's an interesting thing that Chachamim can't make a Gezeira if Klal Yisrael doesn't accept it. Or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, so Beis Shammai Yisrael did get the island to accept it. But now the Gemara is going to take a different route here. V'akati shloima gazar. It wasn't Shammai, it wasn't Hillel, it wasn't Beis Shammai, it wasn't Beis Hillel, it was Shloima. The Amar of Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, B'shas, V'tikan Shloima Erevin, V'tilas Yidayim, when Shloima Melech was Masakin Erevin, right? The concept of Erevin was from Shloima Melech, and he also was Masakin Atilas Yidayim. Yotzitz a Baskel v'Amra. A Baskel went on and said, B'ni, im chacham libecha yismach libi gamani. If your heart is smart, then my heart will also be happy with it. Chacham b'ni b'samach libi v'ashiva charfi davar. So, and it's those psukim that Hashem was, not psukim, but that's what the Baskel is saying. And the pasuk is saying what the Baskel said, that Hashem was very happy with these gezeiras that Shlomo Melech did. Right? Whatever it is, so Shlomo was gezer on Yadayim, not Hillel and Shammai, not Beis Hillel and Shammai. So when it says also Shlomo gezer lekachim, Shlomo made the gezeira for kachim, which we learned Friday on Thursday, that kachim has a higher level of kedusha. Also in Uva gezer afle truma, and came along Shammai and Hillel made the gezeira on truma, and that, well, Shammai and Hillel made the gezeira and they didn't accept it, and then Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel came along and they accepted it even on truma. Right, so now we're following the order. Shlomo made the initial gezeira only on kachim. Shammai and Hillel made the gezeira on truma, and Klal Yisrael didn't accept it. And Beis Shammai and Hillel made the gezeira on truma, and then they accepted it. Fine. Gufa. Now the Gemara is going to discuss the stuff that was brought down parenthetically. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Yudches Gazru uVyudches Nechelku. It says that they made 18 gezeiras on 18 different subjects, of which we learned about half of them so far. And they disagreed on all 18. But we learned that they agreed. At the end, they all agreed. So did they disagree, or did they end up agreeing? So they say, on that day in the attic, they disagreed. And the next day, it was Beis Hillel came around to agree to Beis Shammai. So at the end of the day, the reason why we're not really, right, Thursday we discussed like why here are we paskening like Beis Shammai, we're normally paskening like Beis Hillel, comes out according to the Gemara now, it was never any machlek, meaning there was a machlekes on one day, and the next day they were chayzer, and Beis Hillel was masking everything to Beis Shammai. So it ends up being that they were just all in agreement. Okay? Gufa. Amar Rav Huna, the Gimel Makamis Nechlu with Shammai B'Hillel, not Beis, Shammai B'Hillel. There are three places that Shammai and Hillel had a machlekes. Shammai Amar Mekav Chala, Hillel Amar Mekvayim. A kav, the amount of dough you need in order to separate challah is a kav. Hillel Amar Mekvayim, two, like double the amount of Shammai. Like the Chachamim didn't have, not like Shammai, not like Hillel. Ella kavu mechza chay b'challah. 1.5 kav you're chayav in challah. Mishigdilu amidas, and when the measurements grew, right? Amru chamisha ravim kemach chayav in challah. There are 5 quarters of a kemach, so 5. So it's really one lug, right? Just revius akav. That's what Rashi says. Whatever it is, that's what the measurements are. Hey Peturin, hey v'oid chayavim. 5 up till 5 revayim kemach, you're potter. From 5 and on, then you're chayav. So that's one place where Shamai and Hillel had a machlokes, the measurement of how much dough you need in order to separate challah. Fine. Ve'idach, and the second place that Hillel and Shamai had a machlokes, Hillel learned malay hin mayim shuv and paisana some mikvah, a hin mayim of water, drawn water that's not natural water. I mean, all water is natural, meaning that didn't come straight from the rain. If you take a hin of that and put it into the mikvah, that's going to make it possible. And the reason why they use the term hin is because you're mechuyev to use. We had this in brachas. You're mechuyev to use the lashon that your Rebbe used. Shamai yomer tisha kavin. Shamai says 9 kavin, right, of water have to go into a mikvah in order to make it possible. Until 2 tailors from Shar Ashba, the gate, the garbage gate, Yerushalayim, and they testified in the name of Shamai and Hillel, that 3 lugan of mayim shuv and make the mikvah possible. The Kaim Chacham was the Reim, and the Chachamim said like these 2 tailors. Now there's a very interesting Rashi here, right? Like, why is the Gemara saying that they took testimony from 2 tailors who come from Shar Ashba? So Rashi says what the Gemara is trying to teach you is that these guys were that's not a very high class profession, and the Shar Ashba is the garbage gate. That's where all the garbage from Yerushalayim went. So they were from a low class neighborhood and they had low class jobs, yet we were makabel their testimony in yeshiva from the yeshivas. So the Gemara is trying to bring out that everybody could have in learning. Anybody could be part of it. Yeah.
Isn't it ironic that wasn't there a famous story of Shemaiah and Naphtali and that they themselves came from nothing?
Yes, they were Gezeira. Yes.
So it's interesting. It's interesting that they're connected to Shemaiah and Naphtali.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so that's what Rashi says. Yeah, so that's the musar for tonight. And everybody could be involved in learning. V'idach in the third case.
That's what the sheikhs need.
Maybe v'idach Shamai yomer kol hanoshim dayin shaitan. This is Gemara Nida. All women, it's dayan shaitan, meaning from when a woman starts stealing. Meaning the problem is back then. Besides for Nida having to do with a husband, it also had to do with Tumah and Tara. So woman sees dam, she becomes usher. How do we know when that dam came? Meaning, does everything that she touched for how long does it become tamei? Right? Same thing, I guess we could do with the virus. A guy gets the virus. How far back do we have to go that we're going to say that he infected things? Right? So the first shita is dayan shatan. We do it from whenever it is that they saw, that's when we start calculating things. No. Hillel says it's from the last time she checked. And we assume that she saw dam let's say she checked herself a week ago. Anything from that week ago and on, we're going to say is tamei. Even if it's many, many days. Meaning, if it was 24 hours, if it was the last time she checked herself was more than 24 hours, so we will only kick back the tumah to the previous 24 hours. If she checked herself within 24 hours, let's say 20 hours ago, then only the stuff in the last 20 hours is going to be a problem, but before that, not. Okay, so there's 3 opinions here. So those are the 3 machlokes in between Shamai and Hillel. Chala, what makes a mikvah puzzle, and how far back we have to calculate a woman making things tamei. So the Gemara says, "Va'ika Hillel, Aimer lismayich, Shamai Aimer shaloi lismayich." We have a different machlokes, the Gemara in Chagiga, that says that Hillel says, "Do we do smicha?" Right? You're not allowed to do smicha. What are you shaking your head, Yeshua Marcha? Huh? Okay. Hillel says to do smicha on an animal. On Yom Tov, you're not allowed to lean on an animal. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to lean on an animal. So, but what happens if you bring an optional carbon on Yom Tov? Are you allowed to do smicha or not? So Hillel says, because it's a mitzvah, but Lamaisi you're not allowed to do it on animals. So Hillel says you do smicha, Shammai says you don't do smicha. So you see there's a fourth disagreement between Shammai and Hillel, it's not just three. So Kikam Rav Huna, Hechadaleka plukta the Ravasa Ba'adayu. When Rav Huna was saying is in, that's where there's no other machlokes of others with them, right? So that's where we're not going to count those. But we have another case of somebody who is gathering grapes in the vat. And the grape, like we had this on Thursday, similar case, right? Anything that in order for a fruit to become tamei, water needs to go on it. So the question is, the stuff that leaks out of the grapes, you have, meaning, and if the water that you want, the water that's going to make the grapes tamei or have the ability to be tamei, has to be water that you want. So the question is, when you're gathering in a gas, in a wine press, so the grapes, the liquid from the grape juice leaks out. So are you happy with that or not? So
you said stuff. Do you mean grape juice, or do you mean like the pits in the flesh of the grape?
No, the grape juice that squeezed, that comes out. So right. Shamai says hochsher, it will make the fruit kosher to become tamei, but Hillel loy hochsher, right? And Hillel says not. So you see that there's another machlokes without other rabbis involved in the machlokes. So when it says bar mina dehi, the hasan kashasikli Hillel Shami. No, that's an exclusion, because there, when they were going back and forth and who's right and who's wrong, Hillel disproved Shammai and he got Shammai to be quiet and agree with him. So therefore, that does not count as one of the big three of machlokes in between Hillel and Shammai. Okay, fine. Yosef ben Yezer ish trade of Yosef ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim goes with Tuma al eretz ha'amim v'al kli zchukas. So now we're going to discuss that. Again, this has nothing to do with Yud Ches Davar. We just brought this parenthetically that they made this Gezeira. So now the Gemara is going to discuss it for a good blot and a half. Okay, so they made a Gezeira on Chutz La'aretz that it's tamei, because we're afraid that there's always people buried there, which is a little ironic because it seems like in Eretz Yisroel, wherever you go, there's people buried. In Chutz La'aretz, maybe there isn't, but that's not the way it was back then. And they also made a Gezeira on glass. So now the Rabbanon, the Shamai and Hillel, it wasn't Yosef ben Yezer and Yosef ben Yochanan who made the Gezeira on Eretz Amim. It was the Rabbanon of 80 years, meaning the Rabbanon 80 years before the Churban. Damar of Kahana Kashachala Rabbi Yishmael bar Yosef Shalchulai Rabbi Emerlon Beis Begimel Dvarim Shamar Telon Mishum Avicha. When Rabbi Yishmael got sick, right? So they asked him, say over a couple of things that you got from your father. Shalach lahasam kach Omar Abba. So he sent back. This is what my father said. Kuf Peshana, 180 years ad shaloi charav abayis, because the Gemara doesn't want to use the lashon of the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. So we say ad shaloi charav abayis, right? 180 years before the Beis Hamikdash was not destroyed, which really means 180 years before it was destroyed. Pashta Malchus Rishal Yisrael. That's when the Malchus, the kingdom of Rishayim, overruled Klal Yisrael. Peishana actually Charav Abayis, 80 years until the Beis Hamikdash wasn't destroyed. Gazru Tuma al Eretz Amim. The Chachamim made a Gezeira on that Chutz La'aretz becomes tamei, but Kli Solos, and they made a Gezeira on glass. Mem Shana actually Charav Abayis, 40 years. Galsalas and Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin went into Galus v'Yashvala b'Chanuyos, and they sat in storefronts. So who cares that Bezdin went into Galus and sat in storefronts? Because then they stopped doing judgments, financial judgments, and giving out knas. So Gemara says, "Dine knasos agdayl." Do you're thinking that you can't do dine knasos? Why can't Bezdin that's outside of Eretz Yisrael give knas? It means that they can no longer do dine nefashos. That you had to be by the Beis Hamikdash in order to do capital punishment. You had to be by the Beis Hamikdash.
His father was predicting what would happen.
No, this is later. He's saying this is what happened. He's giving a history lesson of when these things all went down.
But the Gemara starts off Rabbana Deshmainim Shana Gazer, and then he's saying that. We're
going to ask. We didn't get to the kasha yet. We're going to ask based on what he's saying, based on what Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi said in the name of his father. It's going to end up being that the Gezeira was from the Rabbanon within 80 years, not from Yosef ben Yezer and Yosef ben Yochanan.
Okay.
And the Gemara is going to get to the kasha now. No, so that's it. So no, I'm saying we got to the kasha now. So you see that Schuchis and Eretz Ha'amim was done within 80 years before the Churban Beis HaMikdash, not by Yosef ben Yezer and Yosef ben Yochanan. Right? So it's a kasha. So we say v'chitem and Peishon and Nami Inu Havu. So okay, maybe Yosef ben Yezer and Yosef ben Yochanan were within 80 years. Why is it why is it a stira? Maybe they were within 80 years of the Churban of the Beis HaMikdash. Right? So v'chitem and Peishon and Nami Inu Havu. And if you say that they were also within 80 years, Vatani, we have a price. Hillel v'Shimon Gamliel v'Shimon Nogu Nisiyuson v'Fnei Abayis Meya Shana. Hillel and Shimon Gamliel and Shimon were all know their Nisiyus, and within 100 years of the Churban of the Bayis. Vilu Yosef ben Yezer, Ish Tzred of Yosef ben Yochanan have a Kad Mituva. They were way before Hillel and Shimon Gamliel and Shimon. So clearly they were way before the 80 years, right? Ella also in who. So now we're going to say like this. We're going to do similar what we said with Shloima and Shamai and Hillel and Beis Shamai and Hillel. Ella also in who they came, meaning Yosi, and Yosi, like Rashi says, Gezeira Agusha Lisra. They were Gezeira that if you touched a clump, Agusha means a clump of chutz la'aretz, right? Let's say you had a clump of dirt and that touched your food. So they made the Gezeira that you're going to have to burn your food. But let's say your food, you were in a car, obviously it wasn't a car, but you just took your food and threw it and it was in the air over chutz la'aretz. So there they didn't make any Gezeira, there was nothing. They made no Gezeira. But also Rabbanon the Peishana came along the Rabbanon of within 80 years of the Churban, Gezeira Avira Litlos. They were Gezeira that on the airspace, if it went in there with toilet, like we said before, Litlos means that you can't eat it, but you don't have to burn it. Right? So that was the order of what went on. Lamemra, do you say the Chadik Gezeira? So the Gemara asks on this, Lamemra, do you say the Chadik Gezeira Sahava? The Sreifa, do you mean to say that it was one Gezeira on it for Sreifa? V'amar Ilfa, Yadayim Tchilas Gezeiros in the Sreifa. And Yadayim, like we discussed before, the beginning of the Gezeira was for Sreifa. Yadayim who the Tchilas Gezeira on the Sreifa. Yadayim, that's where the Tchila of Gezeira was for Sreifa. Hamidi Acharini Loi. Everything else that they make Gezeiras on, it was not for Sreifa. Meaning we're asking on Gusha Lisroif. Right? We said at the beginning, they made, if you touch the clump of dirt from Chutz La'aretz, you have to burn everything. So we're saying, what do you mean? Ilfa said that Yodayim, the Gezeira, that the hands make something tamei, that one was made that makes things that it touches have to be burned. Everything else does not have to be burned. And now you're saying that they made a Gezeira that if you touch a clump of dirt, then it has to be burned. Also inu Gezeira Agusha Litlos. They came, meaning Yosi, and Yosi came and made a Gezeira that if it touched a clump of dirt from Chutz La'aretz, then it's tall. You have to hang it, meaning you can't eat it, but you don't have to burn it. And then they did nothing about if your food went into the airspace of Chutz La'aretz. Rabbanon the Peishana Gezeira Agusha Lisroiv, Vavira Litlos. And the Rabbanon within 80 years of the Churban came and they made a Gezeira that on the gush, on the clump of dirt, if it touched it, you have to burn it. Vavira Litlos. And then if something went into the airspace, then it's just totally, and you can't eat it, but you don't have to burn it. So now
what does this have to do with the glass? Isn't the Gemara's question? Isn't that what the Gemara's original question was based in the glass?
The Gemara was asking about both. Yeah, very good. Yeah, the Gemara is going to discuss glass next. Vakati, so now the Gemara says, okay, but Usha Gaza. We have a different mission that says that this whole takana of Chutz La'aretz was in Usha. It wasn't in either one of these places. The Tanan, al vav sveika sovereigness of truma. On 6 sveikas, we burn truma, meaning there are 6 cases where we're not even sure what exactly went on. Did it become tamei? Did it not become tamei? Yet we have to burn the food if it was truma. Al safik beis hapras. If anybody remembers from Brachos Suffolk on a Beis HaPras, the Beis HaPras is a field that had a dead person, but it got plowed. So we have no idea if there was a caver in there or was not. So that's a Suffolk. And then your truma food went in there. Suffolk offer haba eretz amim, and on the Suffolk of dirt that came from Chutz La'aretz. Suffolk big day am eretz, and Suffolk of the clothing of an am eretz, because we're afraid that he was a zav, so he's tamei. Suffolk kalim ham nitzayim. And Suffolk of any kli you find in the street, So that's also a suffix, suffix haroiken, and any suffix of saliva also has to do with corona abyssal. I'm just trying to fit it all in there, yeah. Val suffix meiragli adam shekeneged meiragli behema, and a suffix of urine from a person that's right next to urine of a behemoth, right? Alvadai magon val suffix tumason suffered as a truma. On if you vade touched it and it's a suffix whether there was tum on it, you have to burn the truma. Even if you touch it as a suffix in Rosh Hashanah, you have to burn it. In Rosh Hashanah, you tile it. Again, you can't eat it, but you don't have to burn it. And Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be tar completely because we're always more mako with suffix tum in Rosh Hashanah. They were masaking these 6 svekas in Usha, right? So you see, one of these svekas was what? Dirt from Chutz La'aretz, right? So clearly that was in Usha, not from Yossi and Yossi. They came and they made a Gezeira on a clump of dirt that it's talui, right? Meaning you can't eat it, but you don't have to burn it. And on the land, on the airspace, Rabbanan Shamai and Hillel came along the Rabbanan of 80 years. They both decide whether you touch the dirt and whether it went into the airspace. It's talui, meaning no eating but no burning. They made a Gezeira on the clump of dirt that you have to burn it, and on the airspace, it's just the way it is, meaning it's litlos. Again, so now we have 3 levels, right? 3 levels, right? First, they made a Gezeira. Yossi and Yossi made a Gezeira. They made a Gezeira on the actual dirt and nothing on the airspace. Then came the Rabbanim of Shamai and Hillel, and they made a Gezeira on both of them. They're just talui. And then Usha came and made a Gezeira on the clump of dirt that you have to burn it. And then Avira, they didn't change anything, right? So that was the order of that Gezeira. There's just one interesting thing that Rashi points out. This suffix meiragli adam shekeneged meiragli behema. Rashi points out that's really a sveka, right? The urine, because the urine of a person is not necessarily tamei. It's a chashash that it comes from a tamei. So basically, you have 2 urines, one of a behema. So you don't know if this urine is of a behema or if it's a human. And even if it's a human, it may be tar. Yet the Gemara still asks it, even though it's a supposed sveka. Okay, whatever it is, I don't think it's kedai to start kli schuchis because it's a whole sugi that goes for another amud and a half. So, and it's a short amud tomorrow, so I guess we could do that. We could do that tomorrow. Short and sweet and to the point.
So Yaakov, just to clarify, where in the Gemara was the Gemara ever mataritz kli schuchis, the 2 Gezeiras of kli schuchis? Because the next Gemara doesn't really deal with it.
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah. It doesn't.
The Gemara before said there's a Gezeira, the Gezeira is done twice on Kli Zchuchos.
You mean it's only you're saying that the Gemara is only answering the
right.
Tumas Ha'amin part, it's not answering the Zchuchos part.
Correct.
It doesn't answer it afterwards.
The Gemara seems to start off Gufa. Or I'm saying the Gemara is stopped asking Kli Zchuchos.
Oh, yeah. So that's Tosis Kasha. The top Tosis is Kasha. Top Tosis is also Inu.
Oh.
I feel him on the corner. Right? Okay, whatever. We'll
okay.
Do it tomorrow.
So maybe I'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
So Yaakov, are you free for a quick shaila after this is done?
Let me see what my phone looks like.
A disaster, I'm assuming. It's Motzei Shabbos, a disaster.
It's a little bit of a disaster. I don't know why a guy's texting me now that they landed on Friday night in JFK. Like, wasn't Negea now? But hey, I guess they just want to know.
My shaila is the people that said they did the daf today. Where did they do it?
What does that mean?
A lot of people someday, Shabbos, I went to the daf before Mincha and I went to this daf.
Maybe the guy stood on his porch and serenaded everybody with a daf.
Yeah.
Thank God for Art Scroll.
There you go. Do you charge for that advertisement there, Simon?
I wish. Simon, what were you eating over there? Tacos?
Who?
You, what were you eating?
Jalapeno chips.
Ah,
Does
Rabbi
anyone know
Stein,
if the pizza stores are still open?
Go ahead,
Are they
Jesse.
open tonight?
question about beards. I may be asked or told at work that I need to shave
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
because the masks don't work if you have a beard of a certain length.
Right. So why don't you
So-
just trim it down?
No, I'm saying that an issue. I was thinking about leaving myself like mutton chops and a goatee, just
Yeah.
because I need this to be clear.
Right.
But I'm assuming trimming's
What do you
not
mean?
an
Up in
issue.
nether? What's the issue?
Because if my hospital is about to become a very large COVID-19 treatment center, it's already a COVID-19 testing center. And if someone has a beard or any kind of real facial hair, the masks don't fit properly and there's no seal.
Right. Okay, so shave. What's a problem with not shaving?
Okay, just needed to ask.
Yeah, yeah. We'd like to see you clean shaven.
I
Maybe
don't. They'll leave this right here.
So what do you say?
Yeah.
Shaving.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, Simon, you could call me in a minute if you want.